Hi everyone, welcome to episode 6 of To Be a Master, a series where I review my own gameplay so that I can become a better player. Let's dive right into it. So in this game I hover over the Vensuar, seeing if we have a team composition to go with it. I see that we have a Garchomp, which means that he probably wants to go center, and we have two supports, so I definitely lock in the Vensuar there and I go bottom. However, after I do that, the Garchomp changes to a Lucario and our last player switches into a Greninja. I really like this setup because now we have a Greninja who's really strong in the center and a Lucario who's really strong in any lane. So in this game, our lanes are Lucario, Wigglytuff and Blissey Venusaur with the Greninja in the center. The enemy team looks pretty strong. The only weak point is probably the Gardevoir. Because they have a Blastoise, most likely that the Blastoise will go into the center, forcing the Gardevoir to lane. Because Gardevoir is a weaker laner, they'll probably have to pair the Gardevoir up with someone like Wigglytuff to support them in the early game. Although Lucario is also a good option since he has a strong early game, you'd rather use Lucario to dominate a lane than to support another Pokemon. So my guess is that the Lucario and the Venusaur will lane together and the Wigglytuff and Gardevoir will lane together. So with Venusaur, I always start with the Seed Bomb. I Seed Bomb the first Apom and take it down. I actually don't use Seed Bomb on the second Apom. This is so that I can save my Seed Bomb to hit both the Apoms in the third wave. It might not seem like much, but every little bit counts. So we go to contest the middle Ordino. I use my Seed Bomb and I throw out my Razor Leaf. Unfortunately, the Razor Leaf snaps to the Jigglypuff, making me miss the Ordino. This puts us a little bit behind, so I try to see if I can steal their Ordino in return. This is only possible because we put out a lot of damage on them earlier. Unfortunately, it looks like I'm unable to secure it, so we just back off and get our own Ordino. As I mentioned previously, because Ralts is weaker in the lane, it's unlikely for them to come and contest us at our Ordinos. One thing to note is that because Blissey is running experience share, I do get more experience when I kill the Ordinos. It's not really a common item that you see anymore. Usually you only see it on Blissey, and sometimes on Eldegoss. However, I have been seeing it a lot on Gardevoir recently and I'm not sure why, as it feels very counterintuitive. So our Frogadier is here to help us with the Vespiquen. It looks like the Razor Leaf snapped once again, causing me to miss the Vespiquen and go for the Wigglytuff instead. I know that Wigglytuff has a charm ability, but it shouldn't work on spells like that. We managed to take down the Wigglytuff, and then we back away because we're too low to get the dunk. Frogadier is forced to back off and grab a berry, and we come back in trying to get the Ordino in the center. The Wartortle manages to get it with his fluffy tail, and as revenge I try to do a little bit more damage to him and see if I can take him down. Unfortunately, I chase a little bit too far and take some free damage from the Ralts. Blissey heals me up with her softball and we go back to farming our Ordinos. As this is the pre-mobile patch, I am going to go Sludge Bomb and Solar Beam. In this version, Purple Dance has not been buffed yet. So now we're just chilling out, waiting for the 720Bs. I try to go into the center to try and pick up a Corphish in the middle. However, I see the enemy Ivysaur who made their way all the way from top lane to pick it up. As it's approaching 720, we're expecting the top lane to make their way down for the first Dreadnought. Our Lucario comes bottom via our base, and our Wigglytuff stays top to hold off the enemy Lucario. Right now we're trying to fight for as much farm as possible. My goal here is trying to hit level 7 so I can learn Solar Beam. Although Razor Leaf is still a good move, it's not the best move for securing objectives like Dreadnought and Rotom. So we see the enemy team going onto the Dreadnought and our team forces them back off it. I have to stop farming so I can join the fight. Luckily I level up here and learn Solar Beam. I put an attack on the Dreadnought and it pulls the Dreadnought up. I probably shouldn't have done this because I think I confused our Lucario because he cancelled his power up punch and ended up walking into the enemy team. So now we just have to chill until our Lucario comes back. Unfortunately, I get taken out here by the enemy Lucario, and Blissey attempts to hold off the enemy team until our Greninja and Lucario make it to save the day. Our Greninja manages to take out the enemy Lucario, but he ends up going down. It looks like the enemy team has a Blastoise now, so we have to be really careful. I check the Dreadnought to make sure they're not starting it. So while I'm waiting for my team, I continue farming Ordinos for experience. It looks like our Wigglytuff is doing the Rotom, so as long as we manage to hold the enemy team here and stop them from doing the Dreadnought, we have the advantage. Unfortunately, they saw the Wigglytuff going for the Rotom, so they decide to start the Dreadnought. Rather than engaging, I'm staying back as far as possible, trying to snipe the Dreadnought with my Solar Beam. Because I have camera follows move, I am able to extend my sight range so that I don't have to go so close, but I can still see the Dreadnought. I managed to secure the Dreadnought with my Solar Beam, and we decide to fight the enemy team. Quite a few of the enemy team's Unite moves are down, so this is a good opportunity to push in. Our Lucario backs away because it's low, and our Greninja goes in. I'm not sure whether to continue pushing or not, but I see the Blissey scoring. I hesitate in scoring a little bit, but we do manage to turn it in and overscore 30 on the point. After breaking the outer point, I go back and farm the Vesper Queens, because you can never have too much fun. On Venusaur, at the end of the game, I like to be at least level 13 so they get the shorter cooldown on the Solar Beam. So now we enter the stage where we're trying to pick up as much farm as possible before the Rotom respawns and before the Dreadnought respawns. I get the first Corphish and go for the second one, but I see the Wigglytuff. The Wigglytuff drags it into her bush and I'm unable to secure it with the Solar Beam. Because I don't know where the team is, I don't want to go too deep. The Blastoise is top lane and their Lucario is heading up. Our Greninja finds the Curlier, and I can see their Venusaur at the bottom lane as well. The enemy Blastoise and Lucario are pushing top lane really hard. It looks like they want to make a push for the next Rotom. However, if they do decide to stay up there, that means we have the advantage on the next Dreadnought. We force the Wigglytuff to burn her Unite move, and she sings us before running away. Our Lucario and Greninja go back to base in order to heal up before the next Dreadnought. Because with there's 10 seconds left, they have plenty of time to make it down. I end up eating a Solar Beam, taking a lot of damage. Instead of going back to base, I take the berries instead. So now that the Rotom and Dreadnought are up, let's see what's gonna happen. It looks like Lucario and the Blastoise have come bottom, and it looks like their whole team is here. Our Wigglytuff takes advantage of that to take the Rotom again. I see the Blastoise coming for a dunk and I throw my Sludge Bomb in order to stop him. He has Score Shield, but it looks like I managed to break it. He throws his Rapid Spin a little bit too early. It probably would have been better if he waited a little bit more to get closer to our team. The enemy Venusaur uses his Unite move because he thinks we're on the Dreadnought. Once again, because we are getting the Rotom, we don't have to push in too hard. Our job right now is just to stop them from getting the Dreadnought while our Wigglytuff takes the Rotom. However, it looks like they're trying to rush down the Dreadnought and I can see them pulling it to their side. I wait for my Solar Beam to come up and aim it. I see our Lucario go down and their Greninja are pushing to engage. I decide to start the Dreadnought here because I feel like I can get it with my Solar Beam even if they come. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have started it and waited for my team. I'm taking quite a bit of damage here, but because the Bliss is here, I'm pretty safe. As the Dreadnought gets low, I wait, and then because I know that the enemy team has a Solar Beam. I let the enemy Venusaur Solar Beam first and I Solar Beam after to secure the kill. So now it's about 30 seconds until Zapdos. We have the lead, so all we have to do is make sure they don't get the Zapdos and we can win the game. It looks like we're trying to make a push for their bottom point. However, we can't push for too long before we have to back off and position in the Zapdos pit. Because I know where the enemy team is and I know Blissey is in the center already, I decide to go back to the base to heal up. This means I'll make it back to the center around the time that Zapdos spawns. Greninja also follows me, and it looks like Lucario backs as well, but a bit too late. But that's okay because he'll make it here in time. Right there, I used the Sludge Bomb on the Corphish, but it looks like my Solar Beam snapped onto the Zapdos instead of the Corphish. So right now we're playing the waiting game. Because we're in the lead, we don't actually have to go for scores. As long as they don't score and they don't get the Zapdos, we win the game. So it looks like the enemy team has started the Zapdos because they know the situation that they're in. We make our way around to try and take them down before they can get it. Lucario comes around from the bottom side to attack me, but I eject button up to the top, closer to the Wigglytuff to keep me safe. We take down the enemy Venusaur and get the Lucario very low, forcing him to back off. I throw my Sludge Bomb into the entry to zone the enemy team. I try to hit both the Gardevoir and the Blastoise, but only managed to tag the Blastoise. However, because the Gardevoir went too deep, we managed to take her down as well. Wigglytuff comes from behind and uses her Sing. She misses her Dazzling Gleam, and because my team is coming down, she has to eject button away. I'm running quite low right now and I see the Lucario. If he comes in on me, I might die. But instead he goes for the Greninja. I miss my Solar Beam, but we managed to take him down. I see that the enemy team is going back onto the Zapdos, so we make our way back up. I start with my Unite move because it's my longest ranged attack, and I take down the Gardevoir with a Solar Beam. That leaves the Blastoise and the Venusaur who just returned. Also the Wigglytuff who seems to be quite low. I try to go for the kill on the Wigglytuff, but my Solar Beam snaps onto the Blastoise. In the end, this worked out for us because I managed to take him down. At this point, I have to go back to base in order to heal up. Because I know there's less than 30 seconds left, it's really tough for them to force the Zapdos in this time and make it to our points to dunk. Because of that, I head towards the upper point because it's the furthest out. Luckily, I decide to go to the top lane because the enemy Venusaur is here trying to dunk 62 points. Because they're not running Scorch Shield, I managed to easily stop him from dunking. And with only 7 seconds left on the clock, they're not able to win the game. I think it did fairly well this game, although I do have a problem with the snap targeting. I definitely need to practice the game without the targeting settings. Although it might take me longer to aim the moves, I feel like my accuracy will increase. This is quite a low scoring game. I've noticed that the higher rank you go, the less points that are actually scored. A lot of games can be decided without Zapdos. Thanks for joining me on episode 6 of To Be a Master. Please like and subscribe and follow my journey in becoming a Pokemon Master. I hope to see you in the next episode.